Hello and welcome back to Nutrition Mission. Today I'm going to be talking about spinal fractures. It's something that's really close to my heart because I've experienced it myself. I had an L2 compression fracture 3 years ago, so I've been through the process in the UK, and I joined various groups over that period of time to glean advice and support whilst I went through the healing process. So I thought it was about time that I actually spoke about it from a professional and a personal view with this, because as I said, it's something I feel very strongly about. Now, one thing I really wanted to stress is that each individual's circumstances are unique to them. There are many, many reasons why people can have spinal fractures, and for some individuals there are multiple fractures that are occurring over a period of time, and this can be very debilitating and very, very painful, and sometimes the support can be extremely limited and we have to dig around to get the right sort of help. So we need to bear that in mind. So if you do belong to a group and you're seeing questions asked, dig a bit deeper before you give advice, because sometimes it won't be appropriate. And when we're talking about the spine, we're talking about some very serious issues. And I came across that myself, so I have first-hand experience of this. So there's some very well-intended help and guidance out there, and we need to sift through it to make sure it's appropriate to your individual circumstances. Now, for me, I had a sudden fall, and I ended up with two vertebrae that shunted out of place and a compression fracture in my L2, and also there were bone particles that shattered out into the soft tissue around the L2. So there was a lot going on. What we need to remember is that when we have these kind of events, whether it's a small fall, a big fall, and fractures occur, it's also the soft tissue that's going to be affected. It isn't just the disc and the small area around it, it's the whole spine. It's the shock wave that goes through the body when these things happen. It's the shock to us emotionally that also can have profound effects on us on a long-term basis. So this isn't just a very small part of the body, it's the whole body that's affected, and it's important that we remember that. So leading on from that, some of the pain that's associated with these fractures is the soft tissue pain, the postural pain, muscular pain. Everything is adjusting, and the pain is the body's reflex, as you probably well know, to try and protect us and keep us safe. But for some individuals it can be excruciating. Now, I'll just go back to my own circumstances. I spent time in hospital, flat on my back, having lots of neurological tests just to see where the damage was, various scans, x-rays, poked and prodded. And in that time, I was flat on my back. I wasn't allowed to stand, sit or roll. And at that point, I wasn't in a back brace. So I was eating lying down. I had to drink through a straw. All my personal needs had to be done with nursing care. So there was a lot of indignity there. It was really, if you've experienced it, it's very, very difficult. And lying down trying to eat is really, really hard. I had terrible acid reflux. Sometimes I was vomiting. I couldn't keep the food down because of the pain or the pain relief meds. So there's a lot that goes on. And all that time that you're flat on your back, you're losing muscle mass. So it goes very, very quickly. So over a period of 8 weeks of inertness, you can lose anything between 70 and 85% muscle mass. And also it's worth bearing in mind, how strong were you when you went into that situation? If you were already sedentary with health issues, then you're further down the barometer of health, so you have further to climb up. So that needs to be taken into account. I was very lucky. I was fit, I was healthy, I was strong. So when I fell, I was higher up the barometer of health So I didn't have as far to travel, and I was very strong. So although I lost a lot of muscle mass, I had the ability and muscle memory to claw it back quickly. And again, that's something that people don't always consider. Now, once they said that I could move, I was allowed to prop up to 35% angle with the bed, this lovely hospital bed that wibble wobbled about, and all the buttons. So that was great. As soon as I could get up a bit, I felt so much better. And from that point on, they said that although I couldn't twist, I could lift my legs up. I was a little bit more mobile. I could reach out and get books and things off the wheelie table that they have there and pour my own drinks, etc. So all of a sudden things opened up to me. And at that point, I started to do very small exercises. And it was literally twiddling my ankles, flexing my feet, bending my knees up and down, moving my arms, moving my neck, because your immune system needs movement to be effective. So in order to keep my immune system high and working, I did a little bit of movement within the limitations of what I was allowed to do. So it's really important that, dependent on your limitations, I appreciate that some people pain is very debilitating and limiting. Do what you can, even if it's 1 minute. Do something is better than nothing, because it helps support your immune system. Now, once I could sit in a chair, I was then fitted with a TLSO back brace, and that was a game changer. Now, a lot of people I've read have said that they haven't been offered a brace, it's been held back, or they don't know what type to order. It should be fitted, really. Mine was actually fitted by someone who did that kind of orthotic type of fitting. So I was measured up, my torso, my waist, and also under my arms. They did the measurements to make sure I got the right size. I'm 5 foot, I'm quite slight, so I had a small. They're a bit complicated when you first start because there's lots of Velcro and you wrap them round, and then they make sure that there's like rubber pads that press onto your chest, that they have to be in the right place. So it was very well fitted. I wore a t-shirt or something cotton, very light underneath, so it didn't chafe, and that did help. It stopped it riding up so much. But they are a nightmare. They ride up under your chin, and I was forever pulling it down. So I used to tighten it up like a corset. So it really did, it was fixed, but it still used to ride up. When I went to bed, I would loosen it off a bit. So although, yes, it was moving about, I just felt like a lot more comfortable and cooler. So I just used to release it slightly. And I found that the back brace, I found it reassuring because they didn't want me twisting, and it gave me more freedom. So I could then lie on my side when I was in bed. It gave me more comfort. So I started to sleep a bit better once I got used to it. So what I would say about the back braces is persevere. Okay, they are uncomfortable. Yes, they ride up. There's not much you can do about that unless there's like a crotch thing that you put in between your legs, and who wants that, So there are things about them that are uncomfortable, but they're there for the greater good. So you have to remind yourself of that. It's there for a reason. It's like someone who has their leg in a plaster cast and it's really itchy and it drives them mad. It's there for a reason. I also had crutches, and the reason for that, for all of these, was explained to me by a physiotherapist. And they said that I shouldn't lift any more than 7 pounds, and that the average head weighs 11 pounds. So the head is bearing down the spine, down these already weakened vertebra, or whatever bone it is. So they want to release the pressure and allow it to heal. And using the back brace and the crutches does just that. And then after 8 to 12 weeks, the bone has healed, and then you can start gradually adding the weight back in. And that's exactly what I did. So after, I got to remember now, I think I was 9 weeks altogether, I started to wean off. So I had more x-rays, and then they said, no, you're good to go. But I had to wean off really slowly. So it was 20 minutes initially, so I could have a shower by myself, which was amazing. And then it went back on again. And then it went up to 40 minutes, so I could sit at the table and have my dinner and then have a shower, and then the back brace was back on again. So it was very slow increments. Over time, less and less and less. Next thing I knew, I was free of the brace and the crutches. So taper it, and it's really important because you're protecting the healing process and the soft tissue as well. So that's interesting. That it was a physiotherapist that told me that, not anybody who was in the hospital. It was a physio outside of that arena who actually told me that. They also told me jobs I wasn't allowed to do, because I kept saying, well, what can I do? I live on my own. There's things like, I've got a dog, I've got things I need to do. So they said absolutely no bending to make the bed, no bending to load and empty the washing machine, carrying objects over 7 pounds, stay away from that. Don't have anything over head height. So if you've got a shelf that's above your head and you've got to get something down, don't, because you don't want to bring that weight bearing down the spine. And she also said over time, slowly start adding things. As the back brace goes and the crutches goes, other things start to come in. So everything was very gentle, and that was really good advice. So when I first got home, friends moved everything down to the right level, and I had someone pop round, and one friend brought me shopping, another friend bought some bits and pieces. I really did take advantage of, if anybody said, let me know if I can help, I jumped on it. I didn't do the polite thing of, oh no, I'll be all right. So my advice to you is, don't be a martyr. If someone offers help, grab it. Take the opportunity, so you do less and you gradually phase in. I had a friend came round, popped some washing on, and then when she finished work, she popped back and she took it out and hung it up for me. Little tiny jobs made a huge difference. So I kept body and soul together. It also meant I could eat healthily. So let's go on to food. I'm gonna put with this podcast some links. So there'll be a link about physiotherapy. Oh, that's someone outside. That's so typical, and I really don't want to edit it out because I'm on a roll now. So forgive the background noises. God, it sounded like I was opening a prison cell or something, but I can assure you I'm not. Oh my goodness me, I don't know. That really was... Here we go again. What's happening? I might have to go and check. Oh, I'm curious. Goodness me. Well, I think they've finished. I shall continue. Food, yes. Links, right. Gather my thoughts, yes. Oh, they're at it again. What's happening? I'm going to post up about some information about bone building foods, because there are people out there who can't tolerate certain foods. Dairy is one, for example. So I'm going to pop up a sheet that will show you just how varied the bone building nutrients are. And they bring all kinds of other nutrients in. So you can have a look at that and then have a play around with your diet. I think that's really important. There's a danger that if you're immobile, you could start eating all the comfort foods and the quick foods, microwave this and packet that. I totally get that, particularly if you don't have much help. But remember, frozen veg, tinned veg, they're just as good. They're fine. Then you can have your fresh meats, bags of salad. There's bits and pieces you can do, tinned soups, smoothies. They all count. So try to stay away from the foods that are too processed, because nutrition equals good quality healing. It makes a massive difference and you'll feel so much better. So even if you're in a severe disease picture, let's call it that. It sounds awful, but I can't think of another way to put it. So whatever the circumstances, let's say it is really severe, diet is so important, okay? The meds, the pain, the emotional upheaval can really mess with your appetite, and you're just fed up, pissed off. There, I said it. But diet is critical, okay? So really, really put some effort into that. I can't stress that enough. But as I said, I've put some links up, so I hope that helps give you a little bit of guidance. So it's a game of patience with fractures. And as I said earlier, at the very, very beginning, I totally understand there are people who've got catastrophic fracture pictures and they're really struggling. And in comparison, mine was child's play. And I totally understand that. So I really don't want to come across as flippant with this, because I appreciate that there's different levels of problems here. But there are gaps in the sort of help and support that people are getting. So I hope that this plugs those and gives you some hope. If you want to private message me, then do. I'm quite happy to answer questions. I really don't mind, and be supportive and give you some hope and hopefully some direction. I'm more than happy to do that. It was something that I was very lacking, and I could have done with that. I found that some of the groups were very supportive, but it was the information I wanted. I needed facts. I needed the truths about what was going on with my body, and I found that quite lacking in some areas. So finding the truths is part of this journey, and I really wish you well with this, and I'm here if you need it. So you've listened to Nutrition Mission. I'm going to be posting up other podcasts. I'm slowly transferring editorial I've done into podcasts, and if there's something specific you want me to natter about, let me know, and I'd love to do that and bring alive some of your questions. Anyway, in the meantime, take care, and thank you for listening.